ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आनशृण्वन्नोतभिसीदसादनम् प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजनीवती दीनामवित्रयवतो गणेशाय नमः सरस्वत्यै नमः श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ भद्रं कर्णेभिः शृणुयाम देवाः भद्रं पश्येमाक्षभिर्यजत्राः स्थिरैरङ्गैस्तुष्टुवागुंसस्तनूभिः व्यशेम देवाहितं यधायुः स्वस्ति न इन्द्रो वृद्धश्रवाः स्वस्ति नः पूषा विश्ववेदाः स्वस्ति नस्तार्क्ष्यो अरिष्टनेमिः स्वस्ति नो बृहस्पतिर्दधातु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। ॐ नमो भगवते रुद्राय ॐ नमस्ते रुद्रमन्यव उतोत इषवे नमः नमस्ते अस्तु धन्वने बाहुभ्यामुत ते नमः यात इषु शिवतमा शिवं बभूव ते धनुः शिवा शरव्या यातवतया नो रुद्रमडया या ते रुद्र शिवा तनूरघोरा पापकाशिनी तया नस्तनुवाशन्तमया गिरिशन्ताभिजाकशीः यामिषुं गिरिशन्तहस्ते बिभर्षस्तवे शिवां गिरित्रतां कुरु माहि गुंसेः पुरुषं जगत शिवेन वचसा त्वा गिरिशाचावधामसि यथा नः सर्वमिज्जगत यक्ष्मगं सुमना असत अध्यवोचदधिवक्ता प्रथमो देव्योऽभिषक अहेग्यश्च सर्वान् जम्भयन्त् सर्वाश्च यातु धान्यः असो यस्ताम्रो अरुण उत बभ्रुः सुमङ्गलः ये चेमागुं रुद्र अभितो दिक्षु श्रिता सहस्रशो वैशागुं हेडयीमहे असो यो वसर्पति नीलग्रीवो विलोहितः उतेनं गोपा अदृशन्नदृशन्नुदहार्यः उतेनं विश्वा भूतानि सदृष्टो मृडयतिनः नमो अस्तु नीलग्रीवाय सहस्राक्षाय मीरुषे अथो ये अस्य सत्त्वानोऽहं तेभ्यो करन्नमः प्रमुञ्च धन्वनस्त्वमुभयोरात्मीयोर्जाम् याश्च ते हस्त इषवः पराता भगवो वपा अवतत्यदनुस्त्वगं सहस्राक्षशुधे शुधे निशीर्य शल्यानां मुखा शिवो नः सुमना भव विज्जं धनुः कपर्दिनोऽभिशल्यो बाणवागम् उत अनेशन्नस्येषव आभुरस्य निषङ्गतिः या ते हे धर्मे दुष्टमहस्ते बभूव ते धनुः तयास्मान् विश्वतस्त्वमयक्ष्मया परिभुज नमस्ते अस्त्वायुधाय नातताय धृष्णवे उभाभ्यामुत ते नमो बाहुभ्यां तव धन्वने परिते धन्वनो हेतिरस्मान् वृणक्तो विश्वतः अतो य इषुदिस्तवारे अस्मन्निदेहितम् नमस्ते अस्तु भगवन् विश्वेश्वराय महादेवाय त्र्यम्बकाय त्रिपुरान्तकाय त्रिकाग्निकालाय कालाग्निरुद्राय नीलकण्ठाय मृत्युञ्जयाय सर्वेश्वराय सदाशिवाय श्रीमन्महादेवाय नमः नमो हिरण्यबाहवे सेनान्ये दिशाञ्च पतये नमो नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यः पशूनां पतये नमो नमः सस्पिञ्जराय त्विषीमते पथीनां पतये नमो नमो बभ्लुषाय विद्याधीनेनां पतये नमो नमो हरिकेशायोपवीतिने पुष्टानां पतये नमो नमो भवस्य हेत्ये जगत्तां पतये नमो नमो रुद्राय तथाभिने क्षेत्राणां पतये नमो नमः सूताय हन्त्याय वनानां पतये नमो नमो रोहिताय स्तपतये वृक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो मन्त्रणे वाणिजाय कक्षाणां पतये नमो नमो भुवन्तये वारिवस्कृतायौषधीनां पतये नमो नमः उच्चैर्घोषाय क्रन्दयते पत्तीनां पतये नमो नमः कृत्स्नवीताय धावते सत्त्वनां पतये नमः नमः सहमानाय नव्यादिन आव्यादिनीनां पतये नमो नमः ककुभाय निषङ्गिणे स्तेनानां पतये नमो नमो निषङ्गिन इषुधिमते तस्कराणां पतये नमो नमो वञ्जते परिवञ्जते स्तायूनां पतये नमो नमो निचेरवे परिचरायारण्यानां पतये नमो नमः श्रिकाविभ्यो जिगागं सत्भ्यो मुष्णतां पतये नमो नमो सिमद्भ्यो नक्तं चरभ्यः प्रकृन्तानां पतये नमो नमः ऊष्णीशिने गिरिचराय कुलुञ्चानां पतये नमो नमः इषुमद्भ्यो धन्वाविभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आतन्वानेभ्यः प्रतितधानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आयश्चद्भ्यो विसृजद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमो स्यद्भ्यो विद्यद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः आसीनेभ्यश्च यानेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्वपद्भ्यो जाग्रद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्तिष्ठद्भ्यो धावद्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सभापतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो अश्वेभ्यो अश्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमः आव्याधिनीभ्यो विविद्यन्तिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः उगणाभ्यस्त्रिगंहतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो घृत्सेभ्यो घृत्सपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो व्रातेभ्यो व्रातपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो गणेभ्यो गणपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो विरूपेभ्यो विश्वरूपेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो महत्यः क्षुल्लकेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रतिभ्यो रतेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो रथेभ्यो रथपतिभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः सेनानीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः क्षत्तर्भ्यः सङ्ग्रहीतर्भ्यश्च वो नमो नमः स्तक्षभ्यो रथकारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः कुलालेभ्यः कर्मारेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः पुञ्जिष्टेभ्यो निषादेभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः इषुकृभ्यो धन्वकृभ्यश्च वो नमो नमो मृगयुभ्यः श्वनीभ्यश्च वो नमो नमः श्वभ्यः श्वपतिभ्यश्च वो नमः नमो भवाय च रुद्राय च नमः शरवाय च पशुपतये च नमो नीलग्रीवाय च शितिकण्ठाय च नमः कपर्दिने च व्युप्तकेशाय च नमः सहस्राक्षाय च शतधन्वने च नमो गिरिशाय च शिपिविष्टाय च नमो मीरुष्टमाय चेषुमते च नमो रसवाय च वामनाय च नमो प्रहते च वर्षीयसे च नमो वृद्धाय च संवृध्वने च नमो अग्र्याय च प्रथमाय च नमः आशवे च जिराय च नमः शीघ्रियाय च शेव्याय च नमः ऊर्म्याय च वस्वन्याय च नमः श्रोतस्याय च द्वेद्याय च नमो ज्येष्ठाय च कनिष्ठाय च नमः पूर्वजाय च परजाय च नमो मध्यमाय च पगर्भाय च नमो जघन्याय च भूत्नीयाय च नमः सोऽभ्याय च प्रतिसर्याय च नमो याम्याय च क्षेम्याय च नमः उर्वर्याय च खल्याय च नमः श्लोक्याय च वसान्याय च नमो वन्याय च कक्षाय च नमः श्रवाय च प्रतिश्रवाय च नमः आशुषेणाय च शुरताय च नमः शूराय च वबिन्दते च नमो वर्मिने च वरुतिने च नमो बिल्मिने च कवचिने च नमः श्रुताय च श्रुतसेनाय च नमो दुन्दुभ्याय च हनन्याय च नमो धृष्णवे च प्रमृषाय च नमो दूताय च प्रहिताय च नमो निषङ्गिने चेषु धीमते च नमः तीक्ष्णीषवे च युधिने च नमः स्वायुधाय च सुधन्वने च नमः श्रुत्याय च पत्याय च नमः काट्याय च नेप्याय च नमः सूध्याय च सरस्याय च नमो नाध्याय च वेशन्ताय च नमः कूप्याय च वत्याय च नमो वर्षाय च च नमो मेघ्याय च विद्युत्याय च नमः ईध्रियाय च तप्याय च नमो वात्याय च रेश्म्याय च नमो वास्तव्याय च वास्तुपाय च ॐ हर 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 ॐ नमः सोमाय च रुद्राय च नमः ताम्राय च रुणाय च नमः शङ्गाय च पशुपतये च नमः उग्राय च भीमाय च नमो अग्रे वदाय च दूरे वदाय च नमो हन्त्रे च हनीयसे च नमो वृक्षेभ्यो हरिकेशेभ्यो नमस्ताराय नमः शम्भवे च मयोभवे च नमः शङ्कराय च मयस्कराय च नमः शिवाय च शिवतराय च नमः स्थित्याय च खोल्याय च नमः पार्याय च भार्याय च नमः प्रतरणाय चोत्तरणाय च नमः आतार्याय च लाद्याय च नमः षष्प्याय च फेन्याय च नमः सिकट्याय च प्रवाह्याय च नमः इरण्याय च प्रपत्याय च नमः किगंशिलाय च क्षयनाय च नमः कपर्दिने च पुलस्तये च नमो कोष्ठाय च कृत्याय च नमः स्तल्प्याय च गेग्याय च नमः काट्याय च गवरेष्ठाय च नमो हृदयाय च निवेश्याय च नमः पागं सव्याय च रजस्याय च नमः शुष्क्याय च हरित्याय च नमो लोप्याय चोलप्याय च नमः उर्व्याय च सूर्म्याय च नमः पर्ण्याय च पर्णशत्याय च नमो पगुरमाणाय च भिघ्नते च नमः आखिदते च प्रखिदते च नमो वक्किरिकेभ्यो देवानागं हृदयेभ्यो नमो वीक्षिणकेभ्यो नमो वीक्षिन्वट्केभ्यो नमः आनिरहतेभ्यो नमः आमिवट्केभ्यः द्रापे अन्धसस्पते दरिद्रन्नीललोहिता येषां पुरुषाणाम् येषां पशूनां माभेर्मा रोमो येषां किञ्चन ममता या ते रुद्र शिवा तनो शिवा विश्वाह भेषजी शिवा रुद्रस्य भेषजी तया नो बृरजीवसे इमागुं रुद्राय तवसे कपर्दिने क्षयद्वीराय प्रबरामहे मतिं यथा न शमशद्विपते चतुष्पते विश्वं पुष्टं ग्रामे अस्मिन् नातुरम् मृडानो रुद्रोतनो मयस्कृति क्षयद्वीराय नमसा विधेमते यच्चं च योश्च मनुरायजे पिता तदश्यम तव रुद्र प्रणीतो मानो महान्तमुत्तमानो अर्भकं मान उक्षन्तमुत्तमान उक्षितं मानो वदी पितरं मोत मातरं प्रियामानस्तनुवो रुद्ररीरिषः मानस्तोके तनये मान आयुषि मानो गोषु मानो अश्वेषु रीरिषः वीरान् मानो रुद्रभामितो वदिरः विष्मन्तो नमसा विधेमते आरात्य गोग्न उत पूरुषग्ने क्षयद्वीराय सुम्नमस्मे ते अस्तु रक्षा च नो अधि च देवा ब्रूयदा च न शर्मा यच्चत् द्विबरः ष्टुहि श्रुतं गर्सदं युवानं मृगान्नभीममुपहत्नुमुग्रं मृडा चरित्रे रुद्रास्तवानो अन्यन्ते अस्मन्निवपन्तु सेनाः परिणो रुद्रस्य हेतर्वृणक्तु परितेशस्य धुर्मतिरगायोः अवस्थिरा मघवत्पयस्तनुष्वमीध्वस्तोकाय तनयाय मृडया मीरुष्टमशिवतमा शिवो न सुमना भव परमे वृक्ष आयुधन्निधाय कृतं वसान आचर पिनाकं बिभ्रदागहि विकिरित विलोहित नमस्ते अस्तु भगवः यास्ते सहस्रगं हेतयोन्यमस्मन्निव पन्तु ताः सहस्राणि सहस्रदा बाहुवो स्तव हेतयः तासामीशानो भगवः पराचीना मुखाकृति सहस्राणि सहस्रशो ये रुद्रा अधिभूम्यां तेषागं सहस्रयोजने वदन्वानि तन्मसि अस्मिन् महन्त्यन्नवेऽन्तरिक्षे भवा अधि नीलग्रीवाशितिकण्ठाः शर्वा अधः क्षमाचराः नीलग्रीवाशितिकण्ठा दिवगुं रुद्र उपश्रिताः ये वृक्षेषु सस्पिञ्जरा नीलग्रीवा विलोहिताः ये भूतानाम् अधिपतयो विशिकास कपर्दिनः ये अन्येषु विविद्यन्ति पात्रेषु पिपतो जनानां ये पथां पतिरक्षय एलभृदाय व्युदः ये तीर्थानि प्रचरन्ति श्रिकावन्तो निषङ्गिनः य एतवन्तश्च भूयागंसश्च दिशो रुद्रावितस्थिरे तेषागं सहस्रयोजने वधन्वानि तन्मसि नमो रुद्रेभ्यो ये पृथिव्याम्येऽन्तरिक्षे ये दिवि येषामन्नं वातो वर्षमिषवस्तेभ्यो दश प्राचीदश दक्षिणादश प्रतीचीदशोदीचीदशो द्वास्तेभ्यो नमस्ते नो मृडयन्तु तेयं द्विष्वयश्च नो द्वेष्टितं वोजम्भे दधामि त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनान् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात् यो रुद्रो अग्नो यो अप्सु य ओषधीषु यो रुद्रो विश्वा भुवना विवेश तस्मै रुद्राय नमो अस्तु ये ते सहस्रमयुतं पाशा मृत्यो मर्त्यया हन्तवे तान् यज्ञस्य मायया सर्वानवायजामहे मृत्यवे स्वाहा मृत्यवे स्वाहा प्राणानां ग्रन्थिरसि रुद्रो मा विशान्तकः तेनान्येनान्त्यायस्व नमो रुद्राय विष्णवे मृत्युर्मे पाहि तमुष्टुहि अस्विषु सुदन्वायो विश्वक्षयति भेषजस्य यक्ष्वा महेशो मनसाय रुद्रं नमो भीर्देवमसुरं दुवस्य अयमे हस्तो भगवान् अयमे भगवत्तरः अयं मे विश्वभेषजो यगं शिवाभिमर्षणः ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः शं च मे मयश्च मे प्रियं च मेऽनुकामश्च मे कामश्च मे सोमनशश्च मे भद्रं च मे श्रेयश्च मे वशश्च मे यशश्च मे भगश्च मे द्रविणं च मे यन्ता च मे दर्ता च मे क्षेमश्च मे धृतिश्च मे विश्वं च मे महश्च मे संवित् च मे ज्ञात्रं च मे सुश्च मे प्रसुश्च मे शिरं च मे लयश्च मरुत्तं च मे अमृतं च मे यक्ष्मं च मे नामयच्च मे जीवातुश्च मे दीर्घायुत्वं च मे नमित्रं च मे भयं च मे सुगं च मे शयनं च मे सुषा च मे सुदिनं च मे स्वस्ति प्रजाभ्यः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु समस्तलोकाः सुखिनो भवन्तु ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात् ॐ भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्
ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
गणनायक
जगवन्दना भजो गणनायक गजवदना। माधवा माधवा
मुरहर केशव यादव माधव
कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण मुरारी
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण मुरारी
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण मुरारी
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण मुरारी
कृष्ण मुरारी श्यामा मुरारी
कृष्ण मुरारी श्याम मुरारी
कृष्ण मुरारी श्यामा मुरारी
कृष्ण मुरारी श्याम मुरारी
मुरहर केशवा यादवा माधवा
मुरहर केशव यादव माधव
मुरहर केशवा यादवा माधवा
मुरहर केशव यादव माधव
कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
मुरहर केशवा यादवा माधवा
मुरहर केशव यादव माधव
कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण मुरारी
मुरली मनोहर कृष्ण मुरारी
कृष्ण मुरारी श्यामा मुरारी
कृष्ण मुरारी श्याम मुरारी
मुरहर केशवा यादवा माधवा
मुरहर केशव यादव माधव
मुरहर केशवा यादवा माधवा
मुरहर केशव यादव माधव कृष्ण कृष्ण यदुवर कृष्ण
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल हृदय विहारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल हृदय विहारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल हृदय विहारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल हृदय विहारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
नन्द कुमारा नवनीत चोरा
नन्द कुमारा
नन्द कुमारा नवनीत चोरा
नन्द कुमारा नवनीत चोरा
हृदय विहारा बड़ा चित चोरा
हृदय विहारा बड़ा चित चोरा
बड़े विहारा बड़ा चित चोरा
बड़की विहारा बड़ा चित चोरा
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल हृदय विहारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल हृदय विहारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
गोविन्दा गोपाल प्रभु गिरि
जोरा
हृदय विहार बड़ा चित्त चोरा
परति विहारा बड़ा चित जोरा
परति विहार बड़ा चित्त चोरा गोविंदा गोपाल प्रभु गिरिधारी
विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ,
विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ,
विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ,
विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
गंगाधर हर सांब सदा शिव,
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 साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ,
विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
गंगाधर हर सांब सदा शिव,
गंगाधर हर सांब सदा शिव,
साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ साईनाथ सत्य साईनाथ,
साईनाथ, साईनाथ, सत्य साईनाथ, विभूति सुंदर साईनाथ।
अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन,
अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन,
अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन,
अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन,
साई नारायण सत्य नारायण,
साई नारायण सत्य नारायण,
साई नारायण सत्य नारायण,
साई नारायण सत्य नारायण,
अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन,
अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन,
ईश्वरामनंदन दोष निवारण,
ईश्वरामनंदन दोष निवारण,
ईश्वरामनंदन दोष निवारण,
ईश्वरामनंदन दोष निवारण,
परम निरंजन हे शुभानन परम निरंजन हे शुभानन अरविंद लोचन आर्त जनावन साई नारायण सत्य नारायण अरविंद लोचन आत जनावन ईश्वरामनंदन दोष निवारण परम निरंजन हे शुभानन परम निरंजन हे शुभानन
सुब्रह्मण्यम सुब्रह्मण्यम शंभुनाथ सुब्रह्मण्यम 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 शंभुनाथ सुब्रह्मण्यम 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 शंभुनाथ सुब्रह्मण्यम 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 षण्मुखनाथ सुब्रह्मण्यम शिव 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 सुब्रह्मण्यम हर 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 सुब्रह्मण्यम ओम शिव 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 सुब्रह्मण्यम हर 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 सुब्रह्मण्यम शिव शिव हर हर सुब्रह्मण्यम हर हर शिव शिव सुब्रह्मण्यम शिव शिव हर हर सुब्रह्मण्यम हर हर शिव शिव सुब्रह्मण्यम शंकरवण भव सुब्रह्मण्यम शंकरवण भव सुब्रह्मण्यम जय शिव शरवण भव सुब्रह्मण्यम शिव शरवण भव सुब्रह्मण्यम ओम शिव शरवण भव सुब्रह्मण्यम शिव शरवण भव सुब्रह्मण्यम शिव शिव हर हर सुब्रह्मण्यम हर हर शिव 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 हर हर सुब्रह्मण्यम हर हर शिव शिव सुब्रह्मण्यम 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 जय सुब्रह्मण्यम सुब्रह्मण्यम ओम सुब्रह्मण्यम सुब्रह्मण्यम सुब्रह्मण्यम
ॐ तत्सत् श्रीनारायण तु पुरुषोत्तम गुरु तु सिद्धबुद्ध तु स्कन्द विनायक सविता पावक तु सविता पावक तु ब्रह्ममज्ज तु यहोव शक्ति तु येषु पिता रहीमताओ तू, रहीमताओ तू। वासुदेव गो विश्वरूप तू, चिदानंद हरि तू, अद्वितीय तू, अकाल निर्भय आत्मलिंग शिव तू, आत्मलिंग शिव तू, आत्मलिंग शिव तू। असतो मा सद्गमया, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमया, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमया। शांति शांति शांति।
I offer my most loving and humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Loving Sai Rams, dear embodiments of love, I trust that you are all well and safe. On behalf of Chatsworth Region 2, I want to extend a very warm welcome to all our brothers and sisters on this glorious first Sunday morning of spring. Thank you for joining our online devotional program. Our infographic for this week is from a discourse given by Swami on the 23rd of November 1994. Swami says, and I quote, "Today, let it be anyone, whether one deems himself a devotee or not, he should give up meat eating. Why? Meat eating promotes only animal qualities. It has been well said that the food one consumes determines one's thoughts. By eating the flesh of various animals, the qualities of these animals are imbibed. How sinful is it to feed on animals which are sustained by the same 5 elements as human beings." I end the quote. Dear devotees, we will now listen to Brother Mahen from Amshlatuzana Sai Center, who will share his experience on one of the 108 names of Sai.
My humble salutations at the lotus feet of our Divine Master Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba and Aum Sai Ram, dear brothers and sisters. I have been afforded the opportunity to speak on my experiences relating to number 91 of the 108 names of Bhagavan Sri Satya Sai Baba. Aum Sri Sai Sarva Bhista Pradaya Namaha, the one who grants all desirable objects. Loving brothers and sisters, my experience goes back to when I had decided to start my career taking an apprenticeship to become an electrician. I started my first job and was happy thinking in a few years I would be qualified. But Swami's in infinite wisdom had other plans for me. My career at this company soon became miserable, but as employment in South Africa was difficult at the time, I was forced to keep this job. There were times I used to think there was no way out as I had my wife and daughter to consider. I remember clearly it was Swami's birthday on a Saturday evening at our ashram at Mr. Pat's place. While bhajans and the program went on, I sat in the ashram looking at my tainted hands and stared straight into Swami's picture, asking him Is this what you have planned for my life? The very following Monday morning, as I arrived to work, I was called into my employer's office and was reprimanded for an issue that was beyond my control. This is when Swami gave me the courage to resign. On my way home, sitting on the bus questioning my actions because I had to hand in my company vehicle and cell phone, I asked Swami, "Why are you doing the opposite of what I asked of you?" Swami, who is our divine master, had other plans. I spent my normal December leave, which was in much need as I used to work 7 days a week. At the beginning of a new year, I was contacted by a company and offered employment as I was highly recommended by a brother in the organization. This was the start to my journey as I was starting to get recognized for my work. Within 18 months of employment, I purchased my first vehicle and was afforded an opportunity to visit our loving Swami's home, Prashanti Nilayam, with my family and daughter for the first time after we had been married. There was this one time while sitting for darshan, I looked at Swami and told him that I wanted to become qualified in my trade. We arrived back at South Africa, and as time passed, I neglected my studies, as I used to travel a lot. 2 years passed, and my family and I were granted the second visit to Prashanti. 3 months after the purchase of our tickets, we had received sad news that our beloved master had taken Samadhi. As our tickets were already purchased, we decided to go. I remember thinking darshan was not going to be the same as Swami's physical presence was no more. Brothers and sisters, this was a mistake I made, especially after being a Balvikas graduate. Bhagavan, with his unlimited love, showed me his omnipresence. The first day when the daily bhajan started, I had goosebumps. I remember looking at the Samadhi and beginning to tear. My father, sitting to my left, asked me what was wrong. Right up to this very day, I cannot give a reason for tearing. As days went, we attended darshans and bhajans daily. One of those days, I remember telling Swami I wanted to finish my studies and open my own electrical contracting business. We arrived back in South Africa and all was forgotten again as work and traveling started as usual. Finally, Swami decided I was procrastinating and I had met with a serious accident. I walked away with small scratches on my right elbow. I then started to evaluate my life as I lost my favorite car and was quite attached to it. I then started my quest to finish my studies. Swami had granted this boon within 3 years. After getting qualified and received an increase, work started as usual. I had now forgotten about opening my own business. A year passed and my wife began getting tired of me not being at home as I was traveling months on end, so I started to inquire. Swami, being the guiding father as usual, steered me away from a lot of people that tried to rip me off. I then met a business banker who helped me register a business at no charge. Within 2 weeks of opening, we had our first job. I ran this business on weekends and after hours. Swami then decided, after 6 months of being open, that I needed to concentrate on building this new path. Business at the company that I was employed at was starting to get quiet, and that's when I decided to resign. I have been on my new venture for the last 3 years, and Swami has been guiding me ever since. Dear brothers and sisters, from my experience, we should always ask Swami for whatever our hearts desire and leave it at his lotus feet. Bhagavan is our master and he knows what's best for us. The answer he may give us may not always be favorable nor instantaneous, but he has plans for each and every one of us. Jai Sai Ram.
Thank you, Brother Mahin, for sharing your experiences with us. Our announcements for this week are as follows. The regional Sunday morning sadhana continues every week, commencing at 5:30 a.m. The regional Havan this morning was conducted by Yellowwood Park Sai Center. Vedam classes are held every Sunday morning at 9:15. Our next regional online study circle will be on Tuesday, 7th September at 7 p.m. and this will be facilitated by Yellowwood Park Sai Center. Please join us for the study circle. Our next center WhatsApp study circle will be on Monday, 13th of September at 7 p.m. and the flower offered to Swami is compassion for all living beings. Please liaise with your center devotional coordinator for more information. For the month of September, our education wing encourages all Balvikas kids to get creative and build something that will help God's creatures. Example, a bird feeder or bird bath, or even something that will help man. Please use recycled materials for this creative art exercise. Devotees are encouraged to continue with the planting of spekboom, herbs, and vegetables. Please also continue to make your eco bricks and recycle your cans, paper, and old electronic gadgets. The National Study Circle on the 19th of September will be hosted by the Ladies Forum. Chatsworth Region 2 and Midlands Region will facilitate this study circle. Please support our region by attending the study circle. You may liaise with your Center Ladies Forum convener for more details. Our young adults require some media content for their young adult channel. The following is required: vegetarian recipes in video format of young adults cooking. This is to encourage healthy eating, taking lessons from the sadhana camp. A Sai experience in writing or video clip for about 5 to 6 minutes. A write-up of a Seva activity attended this year with photos and videos of your experiences. A write-up of any Go Green activity that you are currently doing, including photos and videos. If young adults have these ready, please liaise with your center young adult convener and a link will be provided for you to upload your info. Devotees requiring any info on any of the above announcements are to please liaise with their center president or convener. During Aarti, let us continue to pray for the sick, the poor, the needy, and all those that have been affected by the pandemic and unrest. Let us also pray for peace in our country and world, as well as inner peace within ourselves. Let us all give thanks to our dear Lord Bhagavan Sri Sai Baba for all that he has done for us. And let us continue to pray to our dear Swami and constantly receive his divine love, grace, and blessings. Do have a happy and blessed week. Jai Sri Sai Ram.
ఈనాడు ఎవరైనా సరే భగవద్భక్తులుగా కోరేటువంటి వారు, భగవద్భక్తులను విశ్వసించేటువంటి వారు,
today let him be anyone, those who consider themselves as devotees,
మాంసభక్షణ వదలాలి.
they should give up meat eating.
కారణం ఏమిటి?
What is the reason?
ఈ పశుమాంసము నీ పశుగుణములనే పెంచుతుంది.
The meat will develop animal qualities.
హిందీలో చెప్తారు, జైసే అన్నే ఐసే మన్.
As is the food, so is the mind.
ఎలాంటి తిండో అలాంటి త్రేపు.
As is the food, so is the belly.
మామిడి పండు తింటే దోసకాయ తేపు వస్తుందా?
When you eat mango, you don't have belch of cucumber.
కనుక మేము ఈ దుర్మార్గమైనటువంటి గుణములతో కూడినటువంటి క్రూర మృగముల యొక్క మాంసములను భుజించటం చేత మనలో కూడా ఆ క్రూరత్వం అభివృద్ధి అవుతుండాలి.
When you partake the meat, you will have animal qualities more and more.
ఇది ఒక్కటే కాదు.
Not only this,
కానీ పంచభూతములతో మనకు కనిపించే శబ్ద స్పర్శ రూప రసగంధాలతో జీవించేటువంటి యొక్క ప్రాణం తీయటము ఎంత పాపము.
what sort of a sin it is to kill an animal.
నీ గుణములు రాక్షస గుణములు కావటమే కాకుండా నీ పంచభాతం భూతముల యొక్క సమానమైనటువంటి పరప్రాణిని కూడా నువ్వు తీయటం ఎంత పాపం.
You have got the 5 elements in you to kill another animal with all the
ఈ
5 elements.
పాపం
What a sin
చేతనే
it is.
మానవునికి తాపం ఏర్పడుతుంటున్నది.
When you commit such a sin, you will have all the worry.
కనుకనే నిజమైనటువంటి దైవ భక్తులు కాబోయేటువంటి వారు కావాలని ఆశించేటువంటి వారు మాంసభక్షణం పూర్తి వదలాలి.
Therefore, the true devotees should give up meat eating.
మేము సాయి భక్తులము, రామ భక్తులము, కృష్ణ భక్తులము అనేది కోళ్ళు తింటూ కూర్చోవటము.
They say we are Sai devotees, Rama devotees, but they eat chicken.
వీడు డివోటీ ఎట్లవుతాడు?
How can you be devotee?
వీడు నిజమైన భక్తుడు ఎట్లవుతాడు?
How can you be true devotee?
కనుక వీడు కేవలం రాక్షసుడే.
So you are a demon.
అలాంటి వాడిని భగవంతుడు ఏమాత్రం కూడా అనుగ్రహించడు.
Such man will never be the recipient of God's grace.
ఎవరైనా కూడాను స్వదేశీయులు కానీ విదేశీయులు కానీ నిజంగా స్వామి యొక్క ఆజ్ఞను పాటించేటువంటి వారు ఈ మాంసభక్షణం తక్షణమే విసర్జించాలి.
Therefore, whether Indians or foreigners should give up this non-vegetarian food.
In the year 2007, on this very day, Sai Gita, who was grossly inadequately described as Swami's pet elephant, discarded her mortal coils in Puttaparthi. Why are we discussing about an elephant, a pet elephant, on a satsang? Shouldn't we be talking about something more esoteric, something more philosophical, Advaita maybe, Vishisht Advaita probably? Why are we talking about an elephant? One cannot help but go back to the predicament of King Parikshit when he got to know about the curse which said that he is not going to live for more than 7 days. He was obsessed with this thought, what is the best thing to fill time with? I have only 7 days, what is the best way or best use I can put to of this time that I have remaining? Speaking about that, Swami would often tell us, Parikshit was lucky, he knew that he had 7 days. Most of us do not know when the end comes. So this pursuit, this question that he asked is very relevant for all of us. And the wise one in his kingdom tells him that you have to spend it in listening to Bhagavatam. Swami's Bhagatvayani, Swami very beautifully and clearly tells us, what is Bhagavatam? Stories about Bhagavan is Bhagavatam, but Swami says stories about Bhagavatas or devotees is as much Bhagavatam. In the year 2007, when Swami came to the Institute auditorium, Swami gave a discourse. It's a discourse we will be alluding to throughout today's satsang. Swami made a very profound statement. Talking to the students, Swami said, Sai Gita had attained a state of absolute focus and determination in her love and devotion to Swami. And Swami said, if anybody is able to think about, speak about, and inculcate that focused love for Swami, Swami said, I myself will draw you closer to me. These are words of Swami himself. So today we are not gathered here, myself and my brother Bishu, to talk about an elephant or a pet of Swami or just another resident who happens to be a non-human being of Prashantinilayam. We are here to talk about a Bhagavata. We are here to talk about a small chapter from Sai Bhagavatam. I'll invite Brother Bishu to join all of us and begin by sharing his introductory thoughts.
Sai Ram, dear listeners and viewers, really it's such a beautiful opportunity on this day to contemplate on the life of Sai Gita. In that discourse Bhagwan gave in the Institute auditorium, Swami very clearly said, if only you can remember, recollect, ruminate and relish that sweet relationship that exists between Swami and Sai Gita. Swami said, then I will myself draw you closer to me. I will make you near and dear to me. And why would anyone not want to drink from this cup of nectar? Sai Baba Gita Sudha Madhuram Madhuram Anandam. Reminded of that one very mystifying facet of Sai Gita. It always happened that Sai Gita knew Swami's movements, Swami's arrivals. There have been so many occasions when Bhagwan would start from the mandir, from the Sai Kulwant hall, and 2 kilometers away, Sai Gita would get restless. She would want to go near the gate. She would want to take her position and not miss the darshan. And the moment she would trumpet, that would be the signal for all the students in the hostel who were staying just opposite that Swami is coming, and for sure Swami would be there in a few moments. That connect that she had was something absolutely phenomenal. It's almost like she had her elephantine network with Swami, and her hotline all the time worked. Her network was flawless, solid, and it worked in all seasons at any point in time. She knew Bhagwan. In fact, there was one occasion when Bhagwan was in Vrindavan, and the students were in the ground in the evening for their sports, and often Sai Gita also would go to the ground for her evening walks. And as the boys were playing, suddenly there was this news that Swami is coming, Swami is coming. And even before the boys realized what was happening, Swami's car almost entered the stadium. It was in the 80s. You didn't have mobile phones, and it was that time when you never had any clue about Bhagwan's movements. So even before the boys were wondering what is happening, Swami's car already entered the stadium, and Sai Gita was there right on the opposite side of the stadium. She was at the Chaitanya Jyoti end, and the moment Sai Gita spotted Swami's car, that's it, she trumpeted loudly and she started running, she started galloping, she almost like became a mare. She was like a deer running, and the way she was unmindful of her body and sprinting like a deer, it was a sight for the gods, because Bhagwan, then as he was coming, Swami stopped the car, Swami instantly got down from the car, and now Swami started running. So on one hand, Sai Gita is running, on the opposite end, Swami is running, and it was such a surreal sight, phantasmagoric. And everyone who were there, all the students, they were waiting to see what will happen now. It was like the heavens had come down, and as both of them met, the way Sai Gita wanted to hug Swami, Swami wanted to hug Sai Gita, and the way that love exchange continued for minutes, it was almost like Swami was hidden between the front legs of Sai Gita, and she was constantly caressing Swami's feet, she was caressing Swami's cheeks, and it was almost like she just wanted to take her Swami and go off. And Swami continued to pet her, continued to pat her, and continued to pacify her. After 15-20 minutes, Swami wanted to leave, and then Swami brought some fruits which was in his car, and Swami started feeding her. With a lot of persuasion, Swami could extricate himself from Sai Gita. And at that point in time, Bhagwan looked at the boys, and Swami said, "Do you know why I have kept Sai Gita right in front of your hostel? It is to show you what true devotion is. If you have even an iota of the love that Sai Gita has for me," Swami said, "your life will be sanctified."
पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन विनाशा गणेशा शिवनन्दन बाल गजानन हे शिवनन्दन बाल गजानन विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे सुंदर पाहि गणेशा गणेशा पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन तुम हो विघ्न विनाश गणेशा हे शिवनन्दन बाल गजानन विद्या बुद्धि प्रदाता मंगल कर हे मंगल कर हे सुंदर पाहि गणेशा गणेशा सुंदर पाहि गणेशा पशुपति तनया बाल गजानन
The Lord of the universe is here. Swami Satya Sai is here. Come to save devotees everywhere. Come to bless his children everywhere. Born at Puttaparthi, the Lord of the universe is here. Calm and tranquil like the moon, shining with divine inner light, filling all with bliss at his sight. He is always serving those in need, answering the prayer
समस्तलोका सुखिनो भवन्तु।
शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। जय बोलो भगवान श्री सत्य साई बाबा जी की।
परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थइष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि। परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थइष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि। परमं पवित्रं बाबा विभूतिं परमं विचित्रं लीला विभूतिं परमार्थइष्टार्थमोक्षप्रदानं बाबा विभूतिं इदमाश्रयामि।
ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्। 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 ॐ साईश्वराय विद्महे सत्यदेवाय धीमहि तन्नः सर्वप्रचोदयात्।